She didn't shout. She didn't argue. She didn't raise her voice or point a finger. She simply stood there quiet, polite, composed. And within minutes, someone had already pressed the security call button. Not because she was disruptive, not because she'd done anything wrong, but because she was a black woman in a sea of crisp suits, imported briefcases, and monogrammed luggage, standing silently in the first-class boarding zone at Ironcrest International Airport. Surrounded by the sleek sheen of privilege, Camille Dawson looked almost out of place. She wore a light gray sweater, a pair of pressed black slacks, and low-profile leather shoes. Her suitcase was compact, well-used. She carried a phone, her e-ticket displayed clearly on the screen. Her posture was poised, her hair tied in a neat bun. Yet every eye in that terminal seemed to find her, one by one, their expressions curling in the same unspoken suspicion. What is she doing here? Camille didn't flinch, didn't falter. She moved forward in line like any other passenger. And still, the whisper started. Behind the desk stood Valerie Drennan, head of terminal security operations, her stiff blue blazer bunching at the shoulders, her mouth curled in that tired smirk of assumed authority. Valerie's gaze didn't scan the crowd. It locked instantly on Camille. Her eyes traveled downward, first to the old suitcase, then to the understated clothes, then back to the phone. Nothing was out of order, except that nothing aligned with her mental image of a first-class traveler either. She lifted her radio with the casual confidence of someone used to power. Unit 9. Priority line. Subject check. Potential unauthorized entry. Her voice didn't rise, but it carried weight. She spoke like Camille was a threat, not a traveler. Like she'd spotted an abandoned bag, not a human being. Camille stepped up to the security checkpoint. Her phone lit up with the unmistakable glow of a confirmed Zone 1 first-class boarding pass. The scanner wasn't even necessary, it was as valid as it could be. But Valerie didn't check. She didn't scan. She simply looked down her nose and said, "This line is for priority and first class only. Economy is to the left." Camille lifted her chin. Her voice was calm, steady. "I know exactly where I'm supposed to be." For a moment, there was silence. A pause, one of those heavy, slow-motion seconds where everything teetered on the edge of something irreversible. Valerie didn't respond directly. Instead, she motioned to a nearby staff member with a flick of her chin. "Handle it," she murmured under her breath. The young attendant hesitated, but only for a second. Camille hadn't moved. And yet, before she could take another step, Valerie leaned forward and whispered, loud enough for the people nearby to hear, "Another mileage upgrade. Think sitting up front makes her one of us." No one said a word. No one intervened. But Camille heard every syllable. She didn't raise her voice, didn't flash credentials, didn't reach for anything, just looked down at her phone. What Valerie didn't know, what almost no one there knew, was that Camille's ticket wasn't purchased. It wasn't upgraded. It was issued internally by the executive branch of Polaris Global Holdings, an elite multinational strategy firm. Her approval signature had just finalized a $3.8 billion corporate rescue for the airline she was now standing in. Without Camille's strategic review, Northern Apex Airlines wouldn't even exist under that name. They'd be bankrupt. But to Valerie, she didn't belong, because she didn't look like she belonged. 2 security officers arrived, one male, one female, and asked Camille to step aside. She complied wordlessly, walking with them to a dimly lit room marked "Security, Internal Use Only." The air buzzed faintly with a dull fluorescent hum. A camera blinked silently in the corner. The male officer sat across from her. He opened a notebook. Full name: Camille Dawson. Destination: Seattle. Purpose of travel: internal review. Strategic partner audit. He paused. If it's business, why are you dressed so plainly? Camille looked at him squarely. Are you asking if my wardrobe makes me less qualified? Silence. The female officer rifled through Camille's canvas tote. She found a sealed envelope embossed in red wax, bearing the Polaris insignia. She lifted it like it might explode. What's this? Work materials, Camille replied, her voice still calm. You'll need a court order to open it. That stopped them. The male officer shifted uncomfortably. The woman gently placed the envelope back into Camille's bag. If this is a random screening, Camille said, please document it as such. If it was initiated by someone, I'd like that reason in writing. Meanwhile, back in the control booth, Valerie lounged in a padded chair, one hand in a bag of chips, watching the security footage like she was watching a reality show. Smug. Unbothered. What she didn't know was that a secondary, encrypted camera disconnected from the airport's internal system had been recording from the moment Camille arrived. Every slight, every comment, every decision. 20 minutes later, Camille re-entered the terminal, holding a printout in hand. No violation detected. She didn't pause, didn't look around. She walked straight to the boarding gate. Valerie said nothing. No apology. Just watched her pass. The gate agent scanned her ticket. A soft green light confirmed it. Camille entered the first-class cabin, placing her bag overhead before settling into seat 1C. Across the aisle, a middle-aged white man in a tailored suit barely glanced at her. But his eyes, full of disapproval, said everything. Then came Kelly Drennan, the lead flight attendant and Valerie's cousin. Her gait slowed as she neared Camille's row. She skipped her. No towel, no champagne, not even eye contact. Camille didn't react. The man beside her clicked his seatbelt and muttered, "Guess they'll let anyone in here nowadays." Camille turned her head, not angry, just focused. "You think money's all it takes to sit here?" He blinked. Well, if it were that easy," she said, "do you think I'd still need money to be here?" Later, just as the doors were about to close, Kelly reappeared. "Ma'am, we'll need you to move to the rear of the cabin. We're making adjustments for weight distribution." Camille didn't blink. "Am I heavier than everyone else here?" "It's not personal, just protocol," Kelly replied. "Then why am I the only passenger being relocated?" "We're not authorized to explain further," Kelly said. Camille reached calmly into her bag and pulled out her phone. She opened a secured internal app, tapped a blue icon, and typed, "Trial complete. File code, exec, 7753. Send." She placed the phone down and looked Kelly in the eye. "If this airline really has a weight problem, maybe the burden isn't in the seats." Kelly froze, then turned and left. Elsewhere, a secure server in Polaris Global decrypted the message automatically. Level 2 field trial complete. Initiate emergency ethics review. No one on the plane had any idea that Camille Dawson wasn't just another executive. She was the executive, the one responsible for authorizing the survival of their employer. When the flight landed at 5:34 p.m., everyone began gathering their things. Camille didn't. She remained seated. 3 minutes after the doors opened, a uniformed crew member approached quietly. "Ms. Dawson, we need to speak with you. Please come with us." She nodded. No fuss. No resistance. She was led into a windowless room where 4 people waited: the airline's head of security, a corporate liaison, Kelly Drennan, and a representative from the FAA. A report sat on the table: passenger Dawson. Disruptive. Non-compliant. Seat relocation violation. Camille didn't respond. She opened her bag and pulled out a single sheet of paper, thick, bordered in silver. She read aloud. "Camille Dawson, Senior Audit Officer, Polaris Global Holdings. Assigned by Board Directive 77X. Objective: evaluate discriminatory conduct in priority boarding and cabin staff behavior." The room froze. She then turned her phone toward the FAA representative and pressed play. Video evidence of the incident from start to finish, including Valerie's commands, including Kelly's dismissals, including every silent moment that spoke louder than words. Camille didn't ask for an apology. She just said, "I'm here to see if this system has the courage to see itself honestly." Within 45 minutes, Polaris suspended all merger discussions with Northern Apex Airlines. The financial rescue package was pulled from consideration. Valerie was suspended indefinitely. Kelly was reassigned to regional flights. Every staff member involved had to submit written statements and undergo compliance training written by Camille herself. Camille never held a press conference. She filed no lawsuit. She simply wrote one email, posted internally to the airline staff board. "I don't need an apology. I just hope they never do this to the next person in line." A week later, Camille returned to Arncrest Airport for a final debrief. As she walked through the terminal, she saw Valerie. No longer in a blazer. No badge. Just a pale blue shirt and a stack of paperwork at the emergency assistance counter. Her eyes didn't lift until they did. Camille looked at her. No anger. No gloating. Just clarity. "You were right," she said quietly. "I don't look like someone who belongs in first class. Because I didn't come here to sit. I came to see who still remembers how to act like a human being." Then she turned and walked away. And for the first time, Valerie Drennan had no words. Justice didn't arrive with headlines or lawsuits. It came in the form of silence that wouldn't back down, a gaze that didn't blink, and a lesson that would echo in every gate, every seat, and every whispered assumption that followed. Because sometimes the most powerful people are the ones you try to push to the back of the line. And sometimes, they're the ones who decide where the line begins.